Hello everyone, welcome to the Books of Morgan. I'm Morgan and today I'm going to be doing my August TBR. So I have a lot of books to show you. I am very hopeful that I can read a lot in the month of August. As I am every single month, I'm hopeful that I can read a lot, but you know, life gets in the way and then you end up reading 2 books instead of 10. So we'll see how this goes. I have a lot of backlist titles on my August TBR. I'm actually putting myself on a book buying ban for this month because I want to focus on getting that TBR down to a reasonable number, because currently I have around 80 physical books in my possession and I would like to get that down. I know that that's not a lot of books in comparison to a lot of other people, yet for me it's overwhelming, especially because I am in a transitional phase in my life where I'm not in a permanent place where I'm living, so I want to read these books and then hopefully pass them on to other people. So, that being said, my TBR is heavily historical fiction because those are the books that I just happen to have on my TBR. The first book that I have is The Lady and the Unicorn by Tracy Chevalier. Oh, this is a very glossy cover, but Tracy Chevalier writes historical fiction books based on art pieces. She most famously wrote The Girl with the Pearl Earring, which was turned into a movie starring Colin Firth, I believe, and Scarlett Johansson. So this is another one of her books. I read The Girl with the Pearl Earring and I enjoyed it. So I got this at like a library sale for like $1 and it's just been sitting on my shelf for forever. The Lady and the Unicorn centers on a medieval family because the tapestry, The Lady and the Unicorn, which is, you can see a little part of it here. It's massive in real life, but this is a very famous piece of art and Tracy Chevalier takes that piece of art and creates a story around it. So I'm very interested in reading this. It's a very short book too, and it has pictures of the tapestry inside. I don't know, if you've ever like studied medieval history, you probably know this tapestry, so. And then I have 2 Reese Witherspoon book club, or actually I have 3 Reese Witherspoon book club picks, but I'll go to the 3rd one later. I had this on my TBR last month and I'm putting it on my TBR again, and that is Next Year in Havana by Chanel Cleeton. I just didn't have the time to get to this last month, so I want to make sure that I am prioritizing this one and getting to it as well. This takes place in the 1950s in Cuba when Fidel Castro, I think it's Fidel Castro. So this follows a young woman in 1958 Cuba, and it follows another woman in 2017 who is one of her descendants, and it's kind of like a dual timeline perspective of the Cuban Revolution and how her family ended up in Miami, I believe. So I think there's romance, war, revolution, all that kind of stuff. So I'm really looking forward to reading this and hoping that it's really good. One of my backlist titles that I am really trying to make a priority of reading is The Alice Network by Kate Quinn. This is a post-World War II novel, I believe. The war has just ended, it's 1947, and then there's this woman who's trying to find another woman. I don't know. This is historical fiction, and then this is also dual perspective. It takes place in 1915 and then 1947. I don't actually know what this book is about, but I've heard really great things, and it was another Reese Witherspoon book club pick, so I am hoping I also enjoy this. The one thing that bothers me about my personal physical copy of this is that it's deckled edges, which you can't really pick up on the camera. Hold on, let's see. Yeah. I hate deckled edges. I hate reading deckled edges. It's like the most infuriating thing ever for me personally, and I know a lot of people like it, but the worst. So I actually have the audiobook version of this that I got from the library, so I might be listening to that while I do like a puzzle or something and get this one read. I also plan on reading The Fountains of Silence by Ruta Sepetys. I've actually already started this book. I'm about 100 pages in, and so far I'm enjoying it. This takes place in the 1950s in Madrid, and so this is the life of Spaniards under the rule of Franco, who was a fascist dictator who ruled like pretty much since World War II until the 70s. So this is a part of history that we don't really learn a lot about in our history textbooks because it's so heavily focused on World War II. So I want to learn more about Franco's rule over Spain and how that affected the people who lived there. This also focuses on a romance between Anna and Daniel. Daniel is an American visiting Spain because his father is an oil tycoon and he might be purchasing land in Spain to set up oil rigs. So there's a lot of like intrigue into life under a dictatorship, and then also this forbidden romance between an American and a Spaniard. So should be really interesting. And I love Rita Sepetys. I've read Between Shades of Grey and Salt to the Sea, and I enjoyed both of those very much, so I have high hopes for this one as well. I know I've been reading I have a lot of historical fiction on my TBR, so when I need a break, I'm going to be reading One to Watch by Kate Stayman London. This is essentially an alternate Bachelorette universe. So there's this reality TV show, and this woman wants to bring more representation to the show. She's a plus size woman, and she really just wants to give a platform for other plus size women, because you don't really see that body type in reality TV shows. You always see like the skinny blonde girls who are always on The Bachelor, and she wants to like shake things up, and so she's essentially the Bachelorette, and she's kind of just in the show for like a social media platform. However, I think she does end up falling in love, and I think there's actually a love triangle in here. So this is going to be like a rom-com thing. I am not a huge fan of The Bachelor. Like, I watch it. I don't watch it religiously. Like, I don't watch every single episode. Like, I'll watch like the first few episodes, and then when the drama's irritating me, I'll take a break and then I'll watch the finale. So like, I'm not like a die-hard Bachelor fan. I love Bachelor in Paradise though. That is my show. But I'm hoping I really enjoy this, and I hope it's a good break from all the serious historical fiction novels that I am reading this month. So my real life book club hasn't announced what book we're going to be reading in August, but I got a text from my cousin saying that this was most likely going to be the pick. So if it's not the pick, then I might change this out. But I believe we'll be reading Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. And this is another like kind of historical fiction novel, but I think it does take place in the 1950s. I don't know when exactly this book takes place, but it is this like horror Gothic novel that takes place in Mexico, obviously, because it's Mexican Gothic. But I read Silvia Moreno Garcia's other book, Gods of Jade and Shadow, and I really enjoyed that book. I thought it was super fascinating and really well written, so I have really high hopes for this book, and I do hope we read it for our book club, because I think a lot of people will enjoy this, and I think it'll be a good departure from other books that we've been reading this month. So I bought this book with the intention of reading it for the reading rush, but I didn't get to it because I was moving and I really just didn't read anything at all. So I would really like to read Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reid. This is still a book that is very much on my radar. I've heard nothing but good things. This takes place in contemporary New York. There's an incident with a black nanny and a white child that goes viral, and it's kind of like how the repercussions are handled by the white baby's like mother and this black nanny, and it's a whole discussion on race in class in New York City. So I've heard, I have a feeling it's going to be like a very much like social justice, inward looking book on race, but kind of in that socialite New York, Manhattan realm. Like, I feel like it's going to be a mix of like Real Housewives of New York and like Black Lives Matter. So I have really high hopes for this book, and obviously the cover is gorgeous again. The last book that I have on my TBR is actually a buddy read that I'm doing with @Maisie's Bookshelf on Instagram. Maisie and I have been talking for probably the last couple of weeks, and I've just like really enjoyed talking about books with her, so I suggested we should do a buddy read. So we like compared our Goodreads want to read, and we decided to read Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo together. This has been on my TBR for forever, and I know so many people have been wanting me to read this. It's one of my highest rated books in my library on Goodreads, so I have high hopes for this too. And I mean, I read the Grishaverse, or the Grisha trilogy with Shadow and Bone, and I didn't really care for that trilogy, but I've heard this is much better. So, I have really high hopes for this, and I don't want to be let down. But lately, fantasy has just been a genre that has not been clicking with me, so I'm hoping that this is nothing but great writing and amazing elements, and yeah, I really want to love this book. Like, I'm really in the mindset that I want to love it. But if I don't, you'll know because you'll see it in my wrap-up. I was also thinking of doing my drunk book review on this book this month because this was the other option I was going to pick for that series. So yeah, I might do a drunk book review for this one too. Those are all the books that I have on my TBR. Obviously, things can change with how life goes. In the month of August, I might change out some books. I might read other ones. I also want to read some ARCs this month, but thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more from me, please hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in another video. Bye!